Boom! I'm in the room. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Everyday Conversations regarding mental health. You notice we've got a behind-the-scenes camera on this shot, so you can see what I'm doing. I've got a new little bit of a setup. I've now got a teleprompter where I'm looking at you directly, so I can see what you're up to out there. So, as always, because there's nothing on the telly, you might as well watch me. And we're coming live from the old Heale Manor. So every week on a Tuesday we have the live quiz. If you've not gone into the live quizzes yet, there's a link in the descriptions to have a look at this week's that's just gone up, and you can go back and do it after the event. It was all to do with Valentine's and the 14th of February, so feel free to go and have a go at that. Evening Chris, evening Catherine. I can see people are dropping in already, so if you're out there, give us the old thumbs up, say hi in the chat box, join in the conversation. So everyday conversations regarding mental health. What we're trying to do with this channel is to bring discussions about mental health into everyday conversations. We're trying to make it normal. We're trying to destigmatise all the aspects around mental health, whether it be suicide, whether it be bereavement, death, addictions. And this evening we're going to be talking about anxiety and depression, and we're going to look at how it affects people and how you can recognise it in somebody else or in yourself. And we're going to look at some coping strategies on how to cope with it. So that's what we're going to be doing this evening. So obviously you can also, if you're feeling particularly generous and you've got a couple of quid to spare, you can buy me a coffee. There's the Q code and all the rest of it in there to buy me. It's not compulsory, by the way. Oh, just going back. Don't forget, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, click the subscribe button. It's free. It doesn't cost anything, and it just helps. Also, you can obviously give us a thumbs up and click the bell icon once you've subscribed. And what that does is, if you click all, you can get notified when I go live. So moving on then. So as I said, this evening we're going to be looking at another avenue of mental health, and I've got a couple of guests lined up to have a chat about it this evening, and we're going to look at depression, how it manifests itself, and give you some coping strategies, how you can notice it in somebody or notice it in somebody else, or in yourself. Yeah, get it right. So, see, we've got a couple of people in already tonight. Great, love it. Catherine, as always, staunch supporter of myself. And Chris, we worked with a while back. He's also a poacher. Gotta love the poachers. Best regiment in the British Army. So what I'll do is I'll bring my first guest in. Now, this guest I met through VOS, which is the Volunteer Outreach Support that's based down here in the south. Around, it's actually headquarters is over in the Royal Maritime Club in Portsmouth, and they lay on lots of different events for veterans. And I've been across this afternoon we have a tea and stickies, and it's just a bunch of veterans get together, laid on by the Veterans Outreach Support, and we drink tea and have biscuits. And next week is a Billy bonus because we get sausage and bacon rolls. So last Thursday of the month is the old bacon and sausages. So without too much further ado, let's bring in my first guest.
Well, hello.
Hey there, Jim. How you doing?
Good evening. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm all good. So looking
I'm
forward to the
doing okay,
conversation.
mate. Yeah, I've been
Good.
listening. Yeah, I'm doing all right. Thank you.
Yeah, we had a little bit of chat before the show, so we've come up with a rough plan of what we're going to chat about. So if you were to kick off then, Jim, and tell us a little bit about your experiences.
Well, Tim, like I was telling you, I've suffered from stress for and anxiety for, but it's only been in the last 5 years that it's really come to a head. I have very bad documented memory issues. I had meningitis as a child, and since then my memory has just deteriorated, which in itself people can cope with. What I found the hardest of it was that I used to go and get jobs. They would do tests on me, and I'd have IQ tests, sorry, IQ scores that were right up the yin yang. I mean, really, really high IQ. I mean, I went to a top school in Edinburgh, but I could never hold a job down because my memory was rubbish, and people used to think I was just stupid, and that's one of the things that annoys me is people don't see anything wrong. There isn't a disability as far as they can see because obviously it's in your brain, and that, along with everything that's going on in your life, causes far more anxiety and stress.
So your experience then, going way back, is that you suffered meningitis, which has caused problems since
Yeah,
with your memory, and I guess over time that's
Around here.
manifested
No,
itself
around
into
here.
anxiety
No.
and
absolutely, absolutely. Obviously, it's based on your work positions.
yeah,
Listen, I lost more jobs than you've had hot dinners, and that is traumatic in itself. Losing a job, one job, but when you've lost seven or eight, by the time you go to the ninth, you're already saying, "I'll be lucky if I get through the next 3 weeks." So and that's just where stress builds. And the worst thing with stress is it just keeps building. It just doesn't sit in the corner and go away. It builds and builds. Um, and you have to find a way of dealing with it. You have to find your way of dealing with it. Because one of the things that used to get me down was people would say, well, I'll tell you what I do. Well, yeah, that works for you, but doesn't
yeah.
necessarily work for me. So I found different ways of dealing with it. One of the ones was writing a lot of stuff in the form of poetry. And to be honest, if anybody had ever said to me, "You're going to write poetry," I'd say, "Yeah, thanks very much," because I never believed that. It was never one of the things on my radar as being an important thing for me to use
Right,
as a
Frankie.
tool to deal with what's going on. But it really worked. So what I'm saying is there are loads and loads of ways of dealing with stress, with dealing with anxiety. It might be that you like to go to the gym. That's another good one. Well, as you can tell by looking at me, I love going. It used to cause
I
more
used to be a
stress.
gym queen
Yes,
once.
I know, Mr. Adonis there. But yeah, it used to cause more. Yeah, I used to sit there and go, "Is anybody here? Right, quick, jump in." But yeah, so I found a way, and that was through writing all my feelings down. And
Yeah,
suddenly, slowly but surely, the black started to move backwards. And when it did that, the next thing I did was, obviously with Voss, I got in touch with other people because I'd kept myself. while I'd been ill the last 3 years, I'd been very much on myself in the house. And if you keep it all to yourself, you're just bottling it all up. So, person,
Yeah.
thank you, Cheryl. You're
So,
absolutely right.
good evening, Cheryl.
It's whatever works for you, but it just doesn't, it just doesn't happen. That's the other thing you've got to look at. It just doesn't happen. If it did, none of us would be suffering from stress. It takes time, and it takes your time to work through it.
It does.
To work on it. It will happen.
I mean, I got myself into a mindset a long time ago of particularly over sort of things like worry.
Yeah.
And I sat down one day and I just worked out that if I can't do anything about something, there is no point in worrying about it. If I could do something about it, then I could do something about it, and then I didn't need to worry about it.
Absolutely.
And it's taken quite a bit of time to get that mindset, but I don't stress over things. I don't worry about things. If something comes up that's a bit of a concern, I'll think about it and then think through it. If I can do something, do it. If I can't, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And I think if more people can get themselves into that kind of mindset, it would save a lot of stress and anxiety that then leads on to depression.
The hardest part, and it's very hard for us who have been maybe in the services, is you can't affect how stress affects you. The only thing you can do is sit back and let it happen. Let it work its way through.
Yeah, that's a good thing. I mean, Cheryl's just come up, but Tim, we want to control. Well, control is again, it's if it's out of your control, it's out of your control. You can't do anything. If it's in your control, then you can do something about it. And I think that looking at it like that, then it takes a lot of mental preparation, a lot of thinking about to come up with that way of thinking, that way of analysing things. And I think if people can actually do that, then far more people would suffer less stress, less anxiety, and less depression. But it's a really difficult mindset to get in the first place.
Yeah. I think Cheryl's point is really well made, because we came through an era where we believed everything was under our control. We could actually affect our life, whether we did the right things. We made our decisions. The problem with stress and the problem with things that happen in your life is you can't control it. If you could, it wouldn't be there. So everybody has that stress that affects them in different ways. It's learning to cope, like somebody said earlier on, it's coping mechanism. And once you've found the coping mechanism, once you've actually recognized it's happening, because that's the other thing. Sometimes you're so far into it that you don't recognize it's happening.
Yeah, I think
one
of the things that we want to try and bring out. Yeah, one of the things we want to try and bring out this evening is to recognise in either yourself or somebody else that is suffering from anxiety, stress, or depression, or all three. I mean, they can all be there.
Yeah.
And if I think that's the first step is to recognise that you've got a problem to start with. Once you've recognised that, then there's a way forward, and we'll come on to the way forward in a bit. But I think the initial is just recognizing that there's an issue to start with, and it's like all things. I mean, it's like addictions. It's recognizing that you've got a problem. Once you've identified you've got a problem, then you can do something about it. You can deal with it, and I think that's what we're looking at. We've got some more comments popping in here. So Catherine's just put in, perhaps it's better to think, how can I control how I feel about it and how I deal with it and how
with it.
it's making me feel and behave.
Yeah.
And then Cheryl's popped in, self-discovery, self-reflection. Yes, I mean that's another big key is understanding yourself, and I think that's one of the key things is understanding your own mindset, understanding how you feel at any given time, how your mood is affecting not only yourself but those around you.
And I think the
Quite
fact that
often,
your
yeah,
mood, you just said another one there, which I think is really important. You have to listen to how it's affecting other people because you don't know. You
yeah,
just don't know. As far as you're concerned, yes, you're acting strange, but it's fitting for that situation. And actually, in a lot of cases, it's not. I
yeah,
mean, it took my family, my daughter, my son, and my wife, to basically say to me, you don't realize how horrible a person you can be when you're in one of these moods. And I didn't realize. I actually thought everything else was wrong and I was the only one that was right. So the idea of self discovery and self reflection, absolutely right. You have to look inwards first of all before you can look outwards for help. Um, you've got to make sure that you're not the cause. And 9 times out of 10 we are. And then
yeah,
it's just a case of dealing with it and how we actually deal with that.
yeah. And I think
It's about
that's the
honesty.
one of the biggest keys to take away is if things are around you causing problems for other people, and other people recognise that it's you that's the problem, and they say something to you, I think then it's time to sort of take that step back, that condor moment, in the old Hamlet,
Yeah, yeah.
and just reflect on how you're feeling at that particular time and what effect that
Which is
you've
easier
had
said than done
on
when
other
you're
people.
which is easier said than done when your
Yeah,
feelings are spiraling down through the sink, and it's very difficult to do it. And it's the recognition that once you find it, and just for
yeah,
that second, I found that the breathing exercises thing, funnily enough, worked. It didn't at the start because I didn't believe in it, but I
mm,
found that if it was getting that bad, just doing the old and then taking two or three more breaths, and then suddenly I was, you're thinking properly again.
yeah. I think one of the key aspects to all of this is the effect that you have on other people, and then when you're going into that dark place, that when you really starting to get into the dark depression, it's very difficult to drag yourself back out of that. It's very difficult to listen to somebody telling you that you're the problem or that
Yeah,
you've got the issue. It's not them. And I think
yeah.
that's where depression leads on to more serious things.
No, it does without a doubt,
Yeah,
absolutely. Cheryl, you're right there again. I don't know I can't reply to you, but well, at least I don't think I can. No, I can't. But you're absolutely right, Cheryl. Um,
yeah.
and
Let's just pop that up.
it says there our actions
Yeah.
It's and that is the problem. Is it's almost like um, you're reacting without you're not in charge of it. You're
Yeah.
not in charge at
You
that moment.
you haven't got control.
That's
you've
right.
lost you've lost that control that we were
Yeah, and
that
you've
Cheryl
just
was talking
let
about
your
earlier.
mind and body take control of you,
Yeah.
and
So
it's all right.
yeah. So thanks, Jim. I'm going to
Okay,
drop you down now, and I'm going to bring in my next guest. So
okay,
thanks, and we'll bring you back in shortly, and we'll have a three-way conversation
no
on this.
problem, no problem, Tim. Thank you, mate. It's nice to
See you in
talk
a few
to people.
minutes.
All right, bud.
There you go. There's a big thank you. So I'm now going to bring in my next guest, and we're going to look at coping strategies and stuff like that. So hang on, give some of that as well.
Hey,
Good evening, Vleta. How you doing? Or Velita? Get the pronunciation right. I'm terrible with discussing things. Um, yeah, so we had a little bit of chat before, and we were looking at how you can seek help, how you can find the the coping strategies to get you out of this anxiety, stress, and depression. Now I know that you've been through the bill through the depression and stuff like that, and you've come out the back end of it by seeking help. So what did you do? What was the catalyst that got you the help that you needed? Oh, hang on. I've got you muted. Give us a second. Oh, hang on. There he is. Right, you should be
Testing,
back in now.
testing.
yeah,
Am I back on air?
You,
That's a
you're
bit
in.
worrying, that mute button that you've got there.
Oh, tell me about it. It's because
Anyway,
for some reason it doesn't. You got both people talking at the same time, and if they're in the background, you still hear them. So I had to mute you because you was chatting to the dog.
just I heard what you said. Just going back slightly with what Jim was saying, that recognizing that you have a problem, I felt in a better place to help someone with that exact problem, and they just didn't recognize that they had a problem. Now I feel that I'm in a better place with how I am and how I deal with my depression and anxieties and my PTSD. Um, but yes, I it's been a long road. I am in a much better place, and I didn't realise I had anything wrong until my counsellor pointed it out to me. So that was good. That was good. But I've had a lot of help with my doctor, and with um, PTSD resolution, rock to recovery, friends and family. So it's all been very positive, and slowly but surely, it's helped me with me volunteering. And I was involved with a charity called Ripple Pond, who helped me, and I wanted to give something back. So I am now a coordinator for this region down in the southwest to help other vulnerable ladies. It's more so for ladies who, whether it's in the military, their other halves are in the military or not. And I find that very satisfying, and that I can actually help other ladies in some way, however small, or point them in the right direction. Because during my journey, I reached out to many, many different charities and people, and so you sort of know who is better and who isn't. But yes, that was very helpful, and I got approached by a friend in Safa to see if I wanted to be a caseworker for this region, and so I did the course, and it focused my mind, and I was accepted on to be a caseworker. So it's lovely that I go out and help volunteers, help other veterans with things they might need. So yes, that sort of that helps focus me really. But when I'm at home, I find doing art. I like art, and I like to draw, and I have my therapy books, so I colour in. I know that sounds very childish, but I do like colouring in. I also work. I've gone back into work, so that helps me a great deal, and I work from home. And I have two lovely dogs, a boy and a girl. They're both rescue, and they are lovely. And they are my therapy dogs. I think dogs are very therapeutic, and they only ever show love. They don't ever want anything back. They just want love. And so, it's just lovely. They don't tell you off. They don't run you down. They don't criticize you or anything like that. It's just lovely. So, yes, I've found different coping strategies, and I mean, British Legion have been very helpful, and I've just actually been in contact with Bravo 22, who accepted me onto their course, and they do art for therapy, and I'm so pleased that I'm able to take part in these courses for art. So I look forward to starting that as well. I think if you want to find a way out of the abyss, you can. It's not always easy, and you don't always have. It's not always good days. You always try and put on a good face, but there's sometimes you just want to be on your own, and you don't want to talk to anyone when you're having a bad day. But when you're having a good day, you get out there, and I've made loads of friends, and it's sort of nice that I can go and have a cup of tea or whatever I want to, but it's no pressure. I think, like Jim says, everybody has their own coping strategies, but it's recognizing that you have a problem, but sometimes you don't know you have a problem and you need help. And it's accepting that help as well, I think. If you accept that help, you've overcome a huge hurdle, and you can then build from there. There are many, many different types of depression and PTSD and anxiety, as I found out with a lot of these groups and charities and that I've been involved with. And I am very proud to be part of the Poacher family. And the amount of friends that have not stuck by me, but they still welcome me as part of the family. I only joined that through my marriage,
Yeah,
but it's just lovely that we are, I hope my other half as well is accepted still and looked after by the poachers as well. And I have made lots of friends, including you, Tim, and Rowena. So that's lovely.
absolutely.
Um,
Yeah,
and look forward to different things that go on. Um, yeah, so I hope, um, everybody has their dark days with things, and especially when people have to deal with someone passing away or
yeah,
somebody leaving or anything like that. It's a different trauma in itself, and I think the most important thing is if you've got family and friends as well around you,
yeah,
that helps immensely. Um, I mean, my family, sister-in-laws, and friends, very close friends, and they just have been a godsend, really.
yeah. Oh, there we
Oh,
go. We've got a question
how
coming
did
in. Let's
you?
just pop that up.
Yeah, take.
So Cheryl
Well,
says,
okay,
how did
Cheryl.
you take
I
it?
Yeah.
Uh,
I won't go into it because it's too personal, really. I was shocked. I was in total disbelief that there was anything wrong. It probably took 6 or 8 sessions for it to sink in that there was a problem, not on my side, obviously, but yeah, that was it, really.
so let's let's just have a chat about animals. I mean, we've got Artie the ship's cat, and the type of cat he is, he's a British short hair, and he is it's on his terms. He's like most cats, but even more so. It, it, he'll come and sit next to you. He won't sit on you. He's not one of those cuddly sort of cats, but he'll come and sit next to us of an evening. In fact, he's just walked in and just walked out again. Sometimes he jumps up on the desk here and and he'll just lay down and flake out beside me. But that's just a sign of love. But that's a cat, and he does like his ears scratching and a chin rub. But he lets you know when he's had enough. And then
Cats are more
Hudson,
independent, aren't they?
yeah, yeah. I mean, he's a fabulous cat. He's famous. I mean, people don't
I know
realise
he is. I know.
how famous my
Yeah.
cat is. I
I
mean,
mean, he's got so many pictures out there. He's more famous than you, Tim.
I know. I mean, he got a 14-page spread in the Saved from the Waves, which is the Royal
Oh, did
National
he?
Lifeboat
Oh, wow.
Institution yearbook for 2001. He was rescued, apparently. He slept through most of it. And then we've got Hudson Heale. He is a border terrier. He's coming up for about 8 months. And he's a proper terrier. But he's a cuddly little
Oh,
dog. I mean,
yeah.
sometimes he's too cuddly. He'll come and
I
sit on
remember
your head.
Rowena telling me when you got him as a puppy.
Yeah. So and he's brought an awful lot of joy. And I think that's, I mean, that undying sort of love and affection that animals bring. It's pure. There's nothing attached to it, and they are great relievers of stress. If I mean, for somebody that is suffering, we had I had some guys on a little while ago from Service Dogs UK, and these service dogs are to help veterans with post-traumatic stress disorder. What these dogs do is they recognise in their owner that they're going into one of their sort of sessions, they're getting anxiety, whatever, and these dogs then leap in and calm them down and bring them back. But it takes about a year to get these dogs trained up to get accredited, and once they've got their accreditation, they got the same rights as guide dogs for the blind,
I
which is a great
understand that.
charity.
Yes.
So yeah, pets can help with that as well. But the coping strategies that you can get from peer-led stuff, from peer-led self-help groups, volunteer groups, it can be immense. So when we bring Jim back in, we'll talk about VOS, which is the Veterans Outreach Support that we've got here in this area, which does a lot. Hopefully I'm going to get them on in a not too distant future to talk about the work that they do, how it was set up, and what they give veterans. So, shall we look at bringing Jim back in?
Absolutely.
Right, here we go then. Stand by. So, thank you, Valita. Get it right. I'm terrible with names. So let's bring them both back in. Oh, just one point on dogs is that you have to you have to get up. Yeah, they make you do stuff when you really
That's
don't
it,
want
yeah.
to. So
Yeah.
they
If
want
you
to go
don't
out.
feel like
You're
getting
going to have
up
to get up.
and you want to get up,
Yeah.
you have
So,
to get up. If you don't feel like getting up, they make you get up.
yeah. Oh, hang on. I've got Jim on mute. Let me unmute him.
Have you there? Unmute me, thank you.
Yeah, I've unmuted you.
Every day they're just smiling at you.
Yeah.
They're just so happy to see you that it boosts your self-confidence and everything. My dog was sat down here a little while ago. I've ignored him. Oh no, he's here. He's right below me. He's right down below me. A little Westie, but he's getting his head down now. It's that time of day for him. But their love is unconditional.
Yeah.
You know, and it's the same day in, day out, day in, day out. Doesn't matter. Dogs are really. That's why they use them in the hospitals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got a few comments
And care
coming in
homes,
here.
Jim.
Just gonna pop up a few comments. So Cheryl said that the earthquake that happened in Turkey just before a dog was about a dog, but something was wrong. Animals are so aware of what's going on around them, and dogs are barking. I missed that. and then Chris has said, dogs are wonderful. I have have pets as therapy dogs, and
Yeah,
they can
good
be
one, Chris.
so therapeutic. They can be annoying as well at times.
Yeah,
But
yeah. No, they are fantastic. And have you ever woken a dog up and it be angry? No. If the dog's asleep and you wake it up, the first
wake
thing
a
it
cat
does
up,
is
it could
rolls
be
on its
angry.
back and it wants to go. You know what I mean? But it
You
doesn't.
did
It don't
really. I
wake
mean,
up.
they do
It doesn't-
dream. Dogs do dream, don't
Yeah.
they? You see them,
They
scratching
do.
about.
Yeah, yeah. My dog, when he's dreaming, makes little whimpering noises, and it's so funny to watch him. But yeah, they never wake up with a bad or angry with anyone. The first thing they do is smile at you and they want a cuddle.
The
That's
Yeah.
the
tails are
dog.
wagging. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, wake a cat up and it gets a little bit umpy at times.
Chris Fry's just said he's taking his dog into the hospital and care homes, and they bring so much joy. I was actually in QA, and somebody brought the dog in to the ward, and everybody in that ward was smiling by the time it went out. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
You can't underestimate how good they are. You really
Mm.
can.
Yeah.
I've
So
taken Muzzy into my mum's care home, and they all love him.
Really.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
and mum
Yeah.
misses her dog, so when she sees Muzzy, she loves him.
Well, they love it as well, though, because they love getting the attention, don't they? They
yeah.
Yes.
love the attention, and it's reciprocated. It's wonderful.
So we're going to have a look at what VOS do for veterans in this area, because that's what how they helped you out, wasn't it, Jim?
Yeah, and now I'm actually one of the boss volunteers. So I run once a week. We have, in fact, it was this morning between 11 and 12. We have an online call, and it's just basically people come along and have a laugh. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? It's just to have a little chat, and it's sometimes it can get quite blue, but nobody minds because we're all ex-service, and we know what the track's all about. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But that's
There's
not
one
just what Vox do.
there's one
Vox do
particular
loads
individual that
of
drags the conversation down, and it's not
yeah.
me.
There's always one in there. It's usually me or Trev, but
Yeah,
it's they do a lot of really good work. Really good
yeah,
work. Once a month they have on, I think it's the first Wednesday of the month.
yeah.
They have a
A
big
drop in.
meeting down at the sorry,
It's a drop in, isn't it?
yeah, the drop-in down at the old home club, the Royal Sailors Rest or whatever it's called
Yeah,
now. I
the
don't know. They've
Maritime
changed
Royal
it.
Maritime Club.
Maritime, that's it, Royal Maritime, and it really is worth going to because they have 30, 40 different agencies come in and sit in this huge big area. And if you just want to go and chat with somebody, you go along, have a chat, and then they'll tell you what you can do. Like they've got one bunch there that do beekeeping. They enjoy people coming along. You can come along and volunteer with them. They'll take you beekeeping. There's others that are, candle making. There's just so many different things there that if you're not going to these things, you're not aware of.
Yeah, and
And
it's
Voss
not just
is
for the
very
veteran;
good.
it's for the spouse as well,
That's
which
right.
is really good.
Yeah,
So if the spouse is struggling, there's somebody always there to help them as well. It's not just helping the
yeah.
veteran. And they lay on different events, like this coming weekend, Sunday I think it is. There's a trip out on 102, which was one of the patrol vessels that goes around the dock, the harbour. So it's a harbour patrol vessel, one that the RAF used to use. So they've organised a
Uh-huh.
trip out for some people on that. Back in October, we went out on gunboat 81, which is one of the fast motor gunboats, motor torpedo boat, and we did sort of 30 knots up to Cowes and back. It's the quickest I've ever been to Cowes and back. But they lay on other stuff. There's candle making. There's what do they call it? Skittles and snorkers.
Workers,
One night
yeah.
a month.
Yeah.
Um,
There's
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 also
loads of different things. The candle making seems to be very, very popular.
yeah,
And they do painting as well, by the way.
yeah.
They do
There's a
painting.
painting group, so that they get
Yeah.
painted in, and there's
And
models
and
for
there's another
veterans
one
as
that
well.
makes sorry?
Model making. There's model making, I
Oh,
think.
yeah, yeah.
So it's all these things to help people, and particularly with a drop in. So they've got all these different agencies from the likes of SAFA, RBL, Veterans UK, AA, Service Dogs UK are in there, and a whole host of other agencies that are out there that are helping veterans.
Absolutely.
And something a lot of people don't know, there are roughly around about 2,000 charities out there directed specifically at the service community, which is a lot.
Well, if anybody's interested in coming along and getting onto the Thursday meeting, which is at 11 o'clock, if you let Tim know your email address, I'll get you put onto our email that gets sent out, because although I'm in Voss, I am not allowed to have access to the Voss mailbox. And I'm not allowed to have access to your email addresses, which I get. But if you're interested, please let Tim know, and I will, if you put your email, I'll get your email added, and we'll get you into it. You know, it's real fun. It's good fun.
Yeah.
We only
you don't
get
have
at the
to.
moment.
So you don't actually have to be in the Portsmouth Gosport area to join in join in with Voss.
No.
There's a group over in the Isle of Wight, part of Voss. I've been over there to their drop-in as well, and they go to the donkey sanctuary and things like that are organised. But if you want to join in on the Thursday Zoom call, you can join in from anywhere. We have a few people call in from different areas. So we've got people up in Aldershot. Yeah.
That sounds interesting. I'd be interested in that, Tim. I'll drop you my email address.
Yeah.
Well,
if
anybody's interested, drop Tim your email, and then we will get you added on to because there's a Zoom group, which is the one I'm talking about, but there's also a mail group, there's a Facebook group, and a few other things as well that they put the link out on to say when we're going to be online. And the more people, the merrier, because it can be a good fun one. Once you get used to donkey,
it's a bit of Mickey taking.
It's the humour. If you've ever thought of the expression gallows humour, he's got gallows humour in spades. So the other thing that's quite good, if you haven't, if anybody hasn't been, are the breakfasts. The breakfast clubs.
They're brilliant. Yeah, I belong to one.
Clubs everywhere. You know?
Yeah.
And it's
all over the country, Jim.
Yes, absolutely.
It's called the Armed Forces and Veterans Breakfast Club.
That's it, Tim.
They're set up all over the country. I think there's about 3 or 4 in this vicinity. There's this Saturday. There's one at Sovereigns at Portsmouth. Next weekend
Island.
There's Heale Island. Next weekend there's one at the R&A Club in Gosport, and it's the same one on a Sunday at Eastleigh. Eastleigh's a really good one. It's really, really friendly. And then there's one over in the Isle of Wight as well. So there's lots of breakfast clubs, and there's lots of chatting with veterans, and you can get a cheaper breakfast and stuff like that. So that's another way of being in touch. So it's really good.
And through that, and through Voss itself, I've actually felt a load of my anxiety and everything just dissipate.
You'll be most welcome, Cheryl. So Cheryl's a great advocate for the channel. Cheryl has her own channel as well. She deals in wellness, and she has a live show. I think it's on a Wednesday. I keep missing it.
Where is she though?
Pardon?
Where does she live? Because it says I need to fly over.
Yeah, she's in America.
All right.
Well done.
Oh, right.
Well, that's great. I can't say anything I like about Cheryl. Now she'll come around and box me.
Hello, Cheryl.
Yeah, you come over, but you could join our little group in the morning on Thursday, Cheryl. We'll send you an email if you send us your email address. Hello.
That's 11 o'clock GMT.
Yeah.
So I think Cheryl's on sort of the east coast, so she'll be getting up early.
It's only about 5 hours, isn't it?
Yeah, it's only 5 hours. Yeah, It's only
The
a
other way
few
around,
hours
the other way
difference.
around. Yeah, the other way around. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's an awful lot that can be done.
Yeah.
So the first step in any journey is that first step, and once you recognise that there's an issue, she's in Mountain Time, Idaho.
Yeah.
So that's an extra hour. So it's about 5 o'clock in the morning then.
There is
So
a
once,
little thing that you say about recognition,
yeah,
acceptance.
yeah,
I can't remember what the next step is, but it's to do with
it's seeking
getting
the
help.
help. Yeah,
Yeah, seeking. That's it. Seeking help, and then
and
repair.
yeah, it's like lots of people with depression also have suicidal thoughts, and the message that we're trying to push out is it's okay not to be okay, and there's always help. There is always somebody that
Absolutely.
will listen. And
Can I just
and there's
say,
so many
Tim?
people out there to help, and this is what it's really difficult with somebody that's got that sort of clinical depression,
Mm,
is suffering from anxiety and stress to recognise that, and they need to open up and let somebody in to help. And I think
mm,
that's something that's really is the first hardest step to take.
You see,
Is
most people who
once
suffer
you've
from
recognised once you've recognised you've got a problem, it's then opening up and letting people in to help.
but we've
the
touched
big,
on this before, Tim, haven't we, about
Yeah,
this? And it's, I know you've got Samaritans out there, but sometimes it's, then, you've got this, veterans need their
it's a
own kind
different
sometimes to
yeah,
understand.
support
And,
altogether.
the
absolutely.
Samaritans are all well and good, and they're very good for what they do, but sometimes if a veteran is feeling like that, they need to talk to another veteran
Yeah,
Yeah,
sometimes because they understand. And I know when I've talked to Norman at Minds at War, he's very good. He is out there all the time. He does a lot of work with people who have suicidal thoughts, and just generally, he's just like another emergency service. So he's very good for veterans. But yes, I mean that's I don't know how you ever solve that really, unless there's more awareness for. It's not just veterans, obviously, that commit suicide, but
no, but there's a
the veterans
disproportionate
need, I
amount
think,
of
specialist help, don't they? They
yeah,
need a different kind of help to a civilian. I don't know if
yeah.
that makes sense.
yeah.
It
No,
does
you're
make a
right.
lot of sense. I mean, there's a disproportionate amount of veterans that are taking their lives at the moment compared with
Terrible.
the civilian
Mm,
population, and it's only just recently that the ONS, the Office of National Statistics, has been recorded through the coroner's office veterans that have taken their life.
Yeah,
So we're now starting to see those actual figures coming through that there's a disproportionate amount of veterans that are doing it, and there's a lot of groups out there. There's one group that I did a few weeks ago, Forgotten Veterans UK. They
yeah,
do an awful lot for guys. I mean, they'll turn out
I've never
in
touched that.
I've
in the
heard of them.
middle of
Will
the
it be
night
there?
to
Be
go
good.
and get a veteran and bring
Mm,
him in. They're
Yeah,
based over at Fort Cumberland.
that's it.
I was there weekend before last. They just opened up. It's an old 17th century fort, and they've just been given two extra casements that they've done up, done really nice, and they've got bedding in there. They've where they can put veterans. They've got help rooms where they can have veterans go in and have one-to-one chats with specialist help. It's a great place, and it's a quite a busy old charity. It's all charity, but they get lots of referrals from the local NHS and police, pointing people in their direction, and they do a lot of work with veterans that are having problems with addictions. If a veteran's fallen on hard times, they'll help them out. If a veteran's having to go to court, they'll go with them. So there's a massive amount of work that these guys are doing to help peer on peer help, and it's a great place to go and visit to see the work that they're doing.
But that's just it, Tim. A lot of these groups now are run by veterans, because you don't find, probably wrong, but not many civilians help. There's a lot of veterans out there wanting to help other veterans, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, you have all call signs which alerts people to somebody who's missing or whatever, which is really good. But is there a follow-up to that? Is there anyone who finds that person, deals with them and helps them and understands why they went missing, things like that?
I think that's part of what the veterans, Forgotten Veterans UK do. I mean, it's all very much peer led, and back in November, when the ONS released the figures for veterans in areas, I mean, Gosport and Fareham was the biggest concentration of veterans in the country. Off the back of that, ITV came and did a piece with Voss over in one of our meeting places, and I got to go on the TV and tell my bit of the story. That went out on that nightly national news. Just after the news had gone out, a veteran contacted me from the Midlands, saying that he's having some real problems and stuff like that. So I put him in touch with a friend of mine who's an RBL volunteer. He worked with him for a couple of weeks. My mate rang me up and said, look, his problems are a bit more than I can deal with. Do you know anybody else who can help? So I got hold of the guys over at Forgotten Veterans UK, gave him his number. They contacted him. This guy hadn't left his flat for over 2 years, and they convinced him that it was a good idea to leave his flat, get on a coach, come all the way down from the Midlands to Portsmouth for a weekend of peer-led help, which he did. When he was down over the weekend, I went to meet this veteran, and since, you know, they've helped. He's been down a few times, but he's had a major wobble, and unfortunately he's had to be sectioned. So he's getting some more specialist help, but as an inpatient. But that's off the back of that one appearance on the national television. So that charity has helped this guy. Unfortunately, they're still in touch with him. They were the ones that got him admitted to get the extra help that he really does need. So there's lots and lots of other charities around like that.
And that's one of the good things about going to the meeting over
the drop-ins. The drop-in centres.
Until you go there, you don't realise how many there are, you know, and you don't even know if there's anything that can fit into your particular little niche. And they've got them. They've got everything. So I highly recommend the drop-ins.
I go over every month. It's only a couple of hours, and it's generally just go over for a chat to whoever is there, and
coffee and a bit of biscuit, and
go for a wet and a sandwich. It's free.
It'd been 20
Free.
odd, no, it'd been 30 odd years since I last been in the place. And I walked in and I thought, my God, what have they done to this joint? It was
Yeah.
crazy. Really done it up. Lovely.
So there's so I think the real upshot from what we're trying to say is that that if you are struggling, if you are feeling down, then there are plenty of people to talk to. There's always an ear that will listen. And if you're that listening ear and you approach somebody that you think isn't coping too well, and you open up that can of worms, be prepared to sit and listen. Don't try and mug them off because you make their situation so much
No, you
worse.
do. But the other thing that's important to get from what we've been saying is don't keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
Don't just sit and let it get worse, because it will. It
Yeah.
will.
Yeah.
You've got to get it out of you. And the only way you can do that is by talking to somebody about it. And
A
if you
problem
got
shared is a
absolutely.
problem halved.
absolutely, and that, I know it sounds corny. I don't mean it sound corny to people who I've never met, but that's how it worked for me. The minute I
Yeah.
was out there discussing it, the minute I did the stuff with Voss, it just all changed.
I think
And
it's sometimes it's easier to talk to a perfect stranger than it is to talk to a loved one about stuff.
yeah,
Mm,
yeah,
And I think that's one of the other keys that we can look at taking away.
definitely.
absolutely, absolutely.
So guys, looks like we're running out of time.
Wow, where's the hour gone?
It flashes by. It really does
Oh,
flash by on a, it's I'd like to be old Professor Slughorn with his hourglass and and it wouldn't run
That'll put
out.
us under pressure.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
right,
nice
there's
to meet you,
somebody
Tim.
else. Yeah, it was nice to meet you as well. It's been nice to be on here. I'm hoping to do a few other things with Tim in the
Yeah.
future. So, because we really need to get this message out to people.
Yeah. So
The more,
Dave just put a message up. Definitely worth using the drop-in centre. I've suffered with mental health for the last couple of years, and I can say having someone to talk to is a must. Thank you, Dave, for
absolutely.
sharing that.
Yeah, very much so.
So Catherine's popped in there. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
That's all right. Hello, Catherine. Thank you.
Yeah, from being an ex-soldier, I just bottled it all up and just carried on. See, this is one of the things that we're trying to destigmatise. This is something we're trying to get. I mean, the military are taking it on board, but it is taking time to destigmatise it in the military. And yeah, Cheryl, as always, absolute star.
thanks,
Only
Cheryl.
love.
Thank you, Cheryl.
So we'll get Cheryl back on the show again soon.
Okay.
So guys, what can I say? Just thank you so much for joining. If you want to hang about, we'll have a quick wash up after.
Yeah, okay.
Thank
That's
you,
cool.
Tim. You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Tim. It's good to be able to do this.
Boom, thank you. So there you go. That's everyday conversations regarding mental health this week. Hopefully you've found it interesting. Hopefully, if you are feeling a little bit down on yourself, you can recognise and hopefully it's helped you through it. So just a last couple of points. Don't forget, if you haven't subscribed to the channel before, subscribe now. Hit the subscribe button. It's free. It doesn't cost a penny. You can click the bell icon. If you click the bell icon, and I think it's click all, it notifies you when I go live. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up, a like and a love or whatever. The coffee, always never say no to a cup of coffee. And until next week, when on Tuesday, if you go in for the live awesome quiz, if you pop that into YouTube, come and join the quiz. They're a lot of fun. I think next week it'll probably be a general knowledge, and the week after might be one to do with the Royals. You heard it here first. So for now, from the old the Heale Manor, I'll catch you next time. So next week, another great week. I've got more guests coming next week and a few weeks after that. So we have more conversations regarding mental health and bringing it to our everyday conversations. So until then, TTFN. Ta-ta for now.